Hello, a very good evening, and welcome to the 39th edition of Trendz Talks. As you know, we started this during the pandemic, and this is to address some of our challenges of limiting belief and limitations that is arising during these times. So, we have been roping people from different walks of life to help and guide us with their experience and insights. Some have a specialty in a area. So we want that to come out. And the main focus has been career and goals in life and a bit of motivation too. So today we have somebody from the food and beverage technology space who is going to guide us about the industry per se and how we can possibly gain opportunities if you are an entrepreneur and make a career. So let me introduce Bhushan Yengade, who is a globally renowned food technologist and is working for the entrepreneurs as a consultant, wherein he would be able to do some research work in the market research and also work on project management. And he has been extensively traveling to some of the food expos, wherein he also does his speech, and he has worked with private and public sector, specifically with the government. So let me hand it over to Bhushan to make his opening remark, and then we'll take up Q&A further. So Bhushan, over to you.
Thank you so much, Krishna, for having me here, and congratulations for your train talks. It's really been very good to be here and speaking about the food processing industry. Since you're just referring to the pandemic state, just remember one thing. I mean, when all it began in perhaps in the virus came into focus perhaps in the December, but it got into the like whole vortex in India by the March, and that time everyone, I mean everything was shut suddenly, but everyone particularly focused on food. So yes, food industry is predominantly very important, and it's very important sector since lifetime. I mean, we have seen like different eras and of course the different times during. I mean, this is not the first pandemic that we are seeing. There have been many pandemics before as well. And yes, it is very important that food is again very important. And it is very important to mention that now the trends of food processing industry are changing, and that's why the lifestyle has changed, and it has impacted a lot on us, and the processing is very easier, and like there are many ups and downs in the food processing industry, how we are preserving the foods and how we are developing it. And we are particularly into entire project management of the food processing industry, right from right from making a project report of the food for the food processing industry to establishing it into the scientific manner. More than that, we are rare food processing industry in India, that we are into market research as well, discovering and working on different market trends. And allied areas that we have been working are the training and research and development. Of course, being in food technologies is more important, that how our food color, how I mean, what should be color, and like there are a lot of dimensions of food, the texture, color, the appearance, the flavor. That these are very important things when food gets into the market. Perhaps from the customer point of view, when it rolls to the customer, like we work for months and perhaps for a few years to get that particular packet, biscuit pack, or wafer pack in customer's hand, and that's how hard work that we have been putting in front, behind, like behind every stage, and that's how we have been working. And the main challenge for developing countries is that the population is increasing, and we have to produce a lot of food. We have to supply that food, and more importantly, it should be very nutritious. And that's what I mean, that's the role that Binder Technology Consultancy has been working, and we have been providing consultation to such a industries and entrepreneurs, and we have been working alongside different governments as well to supply and to to make ensure that the nutrition quality is very good, and other characters or the other parameters of food are very good. Yes.
Right, very well, Bhushan. So, could you throw some light from your childhood day and then your trip to the UK and then back to India? And how did you actually set up your company, Binder Technology Consultancy? So, how did you start up? Can you throw some light from your childhood to where it is today?
Oh, well, I come from region. It's one of the drought affected region. Perhaps you might have heard about the Marathwada region.
Mm-hmm.
And every summer or every uh, every now and then that's in the news because of drought. And that's what I mean, that's how I and that region holds one of the prominent India's university, that's agriculture university.
Mm-hmm.
And I began my studies in food technology in Marathwada region. And afterwards, I got scholarship to study at the University of Reading. That's one of the top British departments. And having served, I mean, having worked there for with couple of industries here in India and there as well, then I joined one of the prominent departments here. That is Ministry of Food Processing Industries department. That's I joined the nodal agency for the uh, particularly for the Maharashtra state. So I was assigned to sanction all the food projects for the Maharashtra state, be it bakery industry, fruit, vegetable industry, cereal industry, or confectionery, or beverage industry, and so. And also the government of India is playing a huge role, and I was assigned to sanction food parks as well for the Maharashtra state. Of course, it's a teamwork, so I was part of that team. So this is how I started, and afterwards, I was working in the project division for the state, and after some time, I realized that there is need that to work into the food industry, and that's how I established my own consultancy, that is Binder Technology Consultancy. So now we are into entire project management right from scratch to what you call in concept to commissioning term, that would be very appropriate. So right from making project report to like market research to then research and development of various scientific works that put in that we work. And of course training, we particularly focus on capacity building training and various other training. So that's how I established my own consultancy. And yeah, we have been working with the aim of serving people and serving farmers, serving entrepreneurs predominantly. And we have a very good entrepreneurs across length and breadth of country and across, like in some other countries as well. So, we have been working on global supply chain at different levels. We have been working with uh, we have been working on market research of Brazil, Russia, of course, India, then China, South Africa, and UK as well. And that's why that's how we have been working. Initially, you stated how you mentioned the term pandemic. So during pandemic, food processing was one of the and is one of the essential sector. So food processing, we were working 24/7. Perhaps like there was kind of scenario that time, like everything was shut. So we had to we had to work at different level, at different at different on different terms, because it was essential and it was one of the most required sector that time as well. So we worked on we worked during pandemic as well.
So that's very good. I see that you've essentially been filling this gap of the market. So you mentioned that you went to UK and then came back to India. So could you draw similarities between some of the practices or the some of the learnings that you learned from there and then brought it to India?
There are so many things. I mean, the UK, British market is very different, and Indian market is very different. And I would like to particularly focus and say that uh, the food wastage, what you call the post-harvesting wastage, are more in India.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know, we might, uh, actually, some researchers, some CFATE is one of the renowned food industry body of government, that is Central Institute of Post Harvest Technology and Engineering, that's based in Punjab, and I was trained there as well after my Bachelor of Technology in Food Sciences. And that particular organization work on the post-harvest losses by India as well. And that particular research, according to that particular research, they found that the what you call the post-harvest losses that we have here in India is equivalent to British one day's. I mean, the population's consumption. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are huge losses. For example, I'll just give one example. For example, if you are picking up any kind of fruit, onion or be it coriander or be it dairy milk, I mean dairy or any. For example, when we are picking up any kind of fruit or vegetable, so we need to maintain a cold supply chain till it reaches to the consumer. At each and every level, at each and every moment, there is like a kind of loss in the food. I mean, it's the texture quality decreases, the nutritional quality also decreases. So our aim is to prevent the nutritional quality and all possible qualities, and to reduce it at minimum level. So that's how we have been working. So like when we compare about when we compare and UK and India, so this is something, the post harvesting losses are more. But the positive thing about India is we have a variety of crops, we have a variety of fruits, we have a variety of fruits and vegetables, we have a variety of ample of legumes, and I mean, India is, like we consume a lot of tea. I mean, we consume a lot of coffee as well. So, and if you think about British market, I mean, I'm not speaking about the particular food processing market, but the agriculture market. There you'll find a few variety. I mean, there you'll find a less variety. And we here in India, we have enormous variety of different kind of processed or the agriculture food, what you call. But the processed variety that you get is, I mean, the more processed variety is in UK. So this is what I feel.
Right. So, Bhushan, you worked both with the private sector and the government, as in the public sector. So, how easy was it to, deal with them, to speak with the government, to possibly convince them on some of the aspects that you were just mentioning? And suppose an entrepreneur wants to set it up, how easy is it for him to start a business in the food industry?
Oh, well, everywhere the market is different, to be honest. Particularly if I would say about the British market, that particularly depend on the subsidies. The agriculture subsidies are more in UK, or any that's from European Union, that they get subsidy, and perhaps now it will differ. I mean, now it's a Brexit time, so it's going to be a different scenario.
Hmm.
But I feel even in India, we have a lot many subsidies. We have agriculture department, we have the Ministry of Food Processing Industries, then we have MSME department as well. So we have. I mean, apart from this department, we have different state departments as well. So, but this department has a different, I mean, sections, and they disburse the subsidies for the entrepreneurs. For example, Ministry of Food Processing has different kind of schemes for the entrepreneurs. So it is for creation of plants, I mean, creation of units, and like if anyone wants to expand their food processing unit, then they have their schemes for that as well. But more than that, the as I mentioned previously, the post harvesting losses are more in India. So the we have particular scheme for the cold storage as well. Then we have a particular scheme for the mini food parks as well. And of course, now the new concept that government is still working. I mean, of course, we have the India has around 42 mega food parks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like one of the city. It's like a town spread on few acres of land, and where like you get all the things. You get all supply chain. You have laboratories. You have food processing units, and you have the what you call raw material supply as well. You have cold storage. You have warehouses. You have the transportation system as well. So this is how the Indian government is assisting people in developing their food processing entrepreneurship, and it's more focused on the farmers to reduce the post harvesting losses. And yeah, so it's one of the though I can't say that. I mean, we can't see the more profit or the what you call the benchmark hasn't we haven't reached the benchmark for achieving the mega food park success. However, the many food industries, the cold supply chains, or the what you call fisheries or meat industries or bakery, fruits and vegetable, the creation of food industry units that has been majorly successful, and that scheme has been utilized by many food industry units in India. And yes, so this is how the government has been assisting, and majorly India has been since few years. India has been attracting many. I mean, more number of FDI. I mean, more FDI as well in India. So it is one of the plus point for India, and we have been working on different kind of technologies. There are many organizations, and we also have been working on research and development to uh, keep the same perishability of fruits and vegetables for longer time. There are many challenges when we think about fruits and vegetable, or the fish or meat industry in particular, or dairy industry. In particular of dairy industry, we have like the meat is high perishable. That means when you expose it to normal temperature, the microbial division starts at the time, and it reduces the perishability. So how to increase the temperature? I mean, how to increase the perishability of the milk is one of the big challenge. So there have been many challenges for the food processing industry as well. So I mean, and each at each time, the we have a different challenge. There are no refer vehicles, or the farmers, small farmers in particular, they can't maintain the same temperature for the milk or any other commodities. So like how to reduce how to reduce those gaps, and how to bind entire supply chain. And that's our aim. And that's our aim. That's particular government's aim as well. And Binder Technology has been binding entire global supply chain. I mean, we are binding entire, I mean, raw materials and the agriculture produce, then, like the entrepreneurs, then food industry, the flavors, then other allied industries. And of course, we have been doing market research as well. So we have been binding entire supply chain and entire chain of the food processing industry. And that's why I thought to name my consultancy as Binder Technology Consultancy. And yes, I mean, recently, how you particularly ask about government, so I would like to particularly focus that how government has been helping people. Uh, I mean, during pandemic, like we have seen many other alteration in the food supply chain, and there have been many challenges at the for the kids in particularly. We have different section. like we have lactating women as well, and we have midday meal as midday meal program as well. And these midday meals are being, like there was a problem uh, in midday meal supply chain because the schools were shut during COVID, and it was very difficult for for the government to take the food to the kids. So the government has been working very hard how that particular gap should reach from how to reduce that particular gap. I would like to give an example. The Maharashtra government has been doing a lot of work, and the milk prices reduced that time. So Maharashtra government has been working to collect the milk and to formulate that milk into milk powder and supply that milk formulations to the kids and lactating women. And we have been working on that particular project as well alongside the dairy of government. So this is how the food industry has been working, and this is how the government has been taking a lot of initiative. And other thing that we have observed, that hunger index has been India's hunger index, the what you call the malnourishment in India has been increasing. So that is also one of the challenge. So we have to work on supplying nutritious meal to the major population. So the government has been working very hard at different levels, not only in milk, but like in different other mills as well, to supply all the meals to the kids in proper nutrition format.
Yeah, I'm sure the government has been working very hard to address each of these challenges, and it was especially during the pandemic that they had to take some extra measure to plug the challenges of supply and the farmers issue also coming up, and farmers being the major building block of the country. How do you see that challenge coming up with the government?
Uh, well, I begin measure my. Of course, there are a lot many challenges between the farmers and food processing sectors. The major, food processing challenge is to get the raw materials from the farmers in good quality. So, so we need to maintain entire good quality. I mean, we need to maintain a good quality of food. So I mean, there are a lot many challenges in our coal supply chain. There are a lot many problems in transportations. There are a lot many problems in other. It's a very complex question, to be honest, to answer. But according to me, as a food technologist, I feel the food should reach from point A to point B very safely, conveniently, and we at each point we need to maintain a very cold supply chain. For example, I would like to give I would like to give one very interesting example. I mean, we have been exporting. I mean, we have been importing a lot of kiwis from other countries, or the other. I mean I mean previously we used to get dragon fruit as well from other countries, but now the northeastern India. I mean that's one of the very good part. I mean that particular region is a very good producer of that particular these fruits. And I mean, to get those fruits from here to southern India, or to North India, or to Western India is a big challenge. So we need to work very hard. The farmers are really working very hard on reducing these supply chain gaps. So the challenges are very huge at farming level to maintain the quality. And there are many other factorials. There are many other factors that at each level you need to treat a fruit or vegetable with different temperature. For example, like Maharashtra state has been one of the prominent state in Alphonse mangoes. So, I mean, how we are plucking up the mangoes, at which level its stem should be, even that's a science for each and every different commodity. And uh, we need to understand. I mean, we need to teach farmers. I have been a trainer to the MSME as well, so it
Mhm.
has been one of the big challenge for the government as well, for us as well, to visit people, and we have been working very hard. Our trainers have been working very hard to reach farmers as well, to maintain the quality of food and to supply it.
Right. So let's say we want to establish a career now. Let's say if there's somebody who wants to establish a career personally, what are the avenues? So if an entrepreneur approaches you, how would you look at the current market?
Uh, well, the trends of food processing industry, they do change every now and then. For example, for few years back, I would say perhaps when when we all were kids, few years back, perhaps down the line, 20 or 20 years. I come from a very small town
Hmm.
of India, in Maharashtra. So like going to the restaurant was a kind of taboo. I mean, it was with everyone's family, like, oh my, yeah, I mean, this family don't cook. That was one of the label that was put on that particular family. But like nowadays, like awareness is growing. People are, processing. I mean, people are buying many different kind of food, and like every. I mean, if I would particularly say about ice cream, I mean, the strawberries is very perishable atom. I mean, perishable fruit, and Maharashtra, particularly the Maharashtra Mahabaleshwar, is one of the prominent region that produces high volumes of strawberry in India. Or and to get that flavor throughout the year is a challenge. I mean, the perishability of strawberries around 2 to 3 days. Otherwise, afterwards, like it loses its quality parameters. So preserving that particular fruit and to to mold it in good format is very good. I mean, it's a challenge for us. So if any entrepreneurs approaches us, we start from scratch, right from making their food processing industry reports. We evaluate the criteria how they're establishing their industry. We do complete market research study for them. We do entire customer study for them. We measure the availability of particular that raw availability of that raw material in that particular area. So we do research or geographic. We do a complete geographical research as well. On that basis, we do entire project management. And when project management starts, it's one of the biggest challenge, because we start with we start with every industrial fruit or vegetable, for example, that should go into we need to customize those fruit or vegetable according to the those machineries or according to that client's preference. And that's how we play a big role there, customizing those machineries according to the clients and those that fruit and vegetables requirement or any kind of food requirement. And afterwards, the establishing entire unit with those scientific requirements is that's how we have been working. And afterwards, along that side, we have been doing market research as well. We again help our clients uh, help them to get their products in India or different markets of the world, and we do the geographical study, and of course we do same again. We do same studies for that particular market as well, to find those marketing trends of that particular product in those countries as well. And we also provide them training to their we emphasize on food safety training and the other trainings as well that we have been helping to our clients.
Right. I see that the government's main thrust, which came out from this budget, was on infrastructure, developing infrastructure so that they can generate some bit of employment. And plus, when I look at the entire infrastructure, are we good with the amount of storage that we have, the cold storages that we have that is required? I mean, you mentioned about food wastage in a way. So, has that been taken care of? Are there still some challenges there?
Yes, if I would be brutally honest, of course, we have a huge challenge, and there are, I mean, we are there's a lot of scarcity of storage. I mean, in particular storage capacity of any kind of commodity in India, and it's very difficult. I mean, the losses in some fruits and vegetable are more than 90%. It's such a, I mean, it's a very difficult situation. More than 90% of perishable commodity are lost. I mean, I mean,
Mhm.
these are known as post-harvesting losses, and we lose those commodities in entire supply chain. And there is lack of storage capacity at village level or the taluka level or the but we can see more those plans in district level or any other at any other locations. But the farmers are facing a lot of challenge when it comes to the storage level, and that's why it's very difficult to compare the farmers. I mean, I personally feel, like rather than, like government should assist farmer, I mean, small farmers, there is a lot of need of capacity development training to the farmers at each level. At each level means right from post harvesting to the, like storing that entire commodity. So
Mhm.
we definitely need to work very hard on this. I'm particularly mentioning that we need to work very hard because in India, around our 60% population depend directly or indirectly on the agriculture. So 70% population generate a less GDP for this country. So it's a very big challenge for us. And like I mean the people who depend on agriculture are not only farmers, but like their entire, I mean, they are retailers, they are shopkeepers, they are, I mean, vendors, they are traders, and this entire supply chain depend on agriculture, and including, I mean, food technologists like me as well. So yes, storage is one of the big challenge for a developing country like India.
So, what can food processing play a role? I mean, in terms of giving value to the entire chain of food, can food processing be taken up in a bigger way, wherein you draw value and the farmer get additional income, or there could be, private and public partnerships involved in some of these ventures? You think?
Yes, there have been lot many public and private partnerships happening across globe in India as well. But the main important thing is the finance. I find very few players are investing directly because food processing industry is not only the you know industry that is related to the food, but there are n number of things in this particular industry. I mean, we need to take care of transportation as well. We need to create a facility as well. We need to take care of like the training manpower as well. That's more important. uh, so like even the volumes or area of fruits and vegetable, how to scratch them, how should be their packaging. Packaging plays a huge role. I mean, how to store fruits and vegetable is very important, and it's a very I mean imperative thing for us. And how to same I mean how to handle the same quality, how to handle the same nutritious quality of food to that particular client is a very big challenge for us. But more than that, I mean, the different trends are growing, to be honest. I mean, in this whole supply chain, in this whole what you call the private and public supply chain.
Hmm.
I mean, if you particularly focus on the subject of the title, the trends. I mean, now the trends are really growing. If you particular, if you think about the trends of food processing industry in India or the globe, the consumption of sugar is increasing. The consumption of meat is increasing in developing and underdeveloped countries. I mean, these are, I mean, of course, this is also one of the big challenge for the food processing industry. I mean, food technologists like us, I mean, we are working very hard how to work on that particular challenge. It's one of the big challenge, and we are working very hard to draw opportunities through that challenge as well.
So you have been training people for capacity building. I mean, what are some of the examples, and what are the kind of trainings that you've been imparting, be it for the food or the beverage sector?
We have been training people, particularly in like rural areas, of course, in the metro areas as well, to establish the food processing industry. In those training, we have been. I mean, it's a huge syllabus, to be honest. So we guide them on choosing their particular sector, and according to those sector, we have been guiding them to establish their industry. We have been helping them to understand the food authority bodies rules, because when we are working or establishing any kind of food processing industry, getting
Hmm.
FSSI license, or these are very mandatory things. Perhaps if you flip those what you call the food packaging, you will get all kind of information. It's nutritional content and many other what all the standards or certification that particular company has. So we have been helping people to we have been training them in this particular sector to get entire things and to make it more easier for them. And of course, how to approach market, how to approach the customer. We have been particularly focusing, and we have been working in India on customer studies as well, because every customer has their own different taste according to their population, according to their age group, according to their gender. So it all changes. For example, like in childhood, we may have learned about the blue for the guys and pink for the ladies. So like in food industry as well, like that. So I mean, these are different challenges, and these are different what you call opportunities that we have been particularly focusing, and we have been educating or the training entrepreneurs of the food processing industry.
Hmm. Right. So, Bhushan, you've been researching, right, this market for quite a while, and there are some interesting trends coming from different part of the world. So, which is something that India should adapt? Any best practices that we should take from any country, you think?
Uh, well, we cannot take a particular trend from different country, because every country has their own challenge. Every country has their own, opportunities. I mean, India is the country. I mean, it's a rare region of the world where you get all kind of things. I mean, you have, region like, I mean, northern India. I mean, it's a frozen India, to be honest. And like we have southern some parts of states. They are very rainy, and we have a huge coastal line as well. And like we have even the what you call the deserts. I mean, of the difficult deserts in the world as well. So throughout region, we have ample of food, different food supply in India. So trends of India are very different. When you we to set the different. I mean, we have different trends. and we also have a different population who are malnourished. So we have different opportunities and we have different challenges as well. So the main trend that have been growing is one of the for metro region, the snack consumption is increasing, or the beverage consumption has been increasing a lot.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I'll give you an example. Uh, I mean, the snack consumption previously I mean we used to consume snack a few years back only for the festivities, but now
Mm-hmm.
the snack consumption has increased. We have been consuming snacks for the breakfast. We have been consuming snacks for the meals. We have been consuming snacks for the dinner. And like at this breadth and length, we have been consuming snacks. So like there are different kind of trends that we have been seeing, and of course, when you go deeper, we'll see different kind of trends for the different age groups, and like that what I previously mentioned, I mean gender and age group, and this is how we have been working on different trends. And like if you think about the what you call the rural India, or the different or the like difficult areas, there we also have been facing many challenges, like malnourishment has been increasing. So that is one of the very difficult situation for India. And food technologists now have been working how to supply food to them. I mean, how to supply them a low cost and full nutritious food. So we have been working how to pack those nutrition in, like how to pack those nutrition, how to pack that nutrition in, like pack and supply to that particular population as well. So this is one of the trend as well, and food or the this is how the food industry has been working in India, and this is how it's been trending.
Yeah, it's a good thing that you bought something about nutrition because I mean one trend that could be coming up would be about plant protein, and wherein they are trying to make it a little more nutritive by bringing these kind of products. What is your opinion about it?
Of course, the plant has been. I mean, plant nutrition is really growing, but I don't particularly see this trend growing in India. Of course, It's in the developing state. It's not growing.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the developing trend. For example, I would like to compare what you call maybe let's compare this particular trend with US. There, the consumption of meat per capita is more than 100 kg per year. I mean, that's how the food industry trend is. And if I compare this particular trend with Indian population per capita, it is
Mm-hmm.
between 10 to 15 kg per year.
Mm-hmm.
So this particular trend is, I mean, different location wise. And India has more vegetarians than vegans. And this particular trend is I mean, growing, and sooner or later you'll find this particular trend will imbibe more in our country as well, perhaps. But as I said, India being a developing country, currently, I mean, if you compare the like the more trend, I mean the trend in India or African region, or the developing region, the more trend that you will find, the oil consumption is more, then the meat consumption is growing, and the sugar consumption is growing. So we have been working hard on how to make meals more nutritious, how to process food more nutritious. This is one of the good thing that we have been working on.
Mm-hmm. Right. The pandemic has taught us a lot of things, you would say, right? Because it has really spoken about the short supply and availability and pricing of some of these products. So, what have been the learnings, and what would you think now that things are normalizing would be the step forward?
Uh, as far as pandemic concerned, with few hours of notice, pandemic was enforced in India, and entire India was, for a few hours it was kind of shut. Not for a few hours, maybe for a few days, if I would say. And
Hmm.
people had no idea where to go. And even as far as food industry concerned, farmers had no idea how to supply those fruit and vegetables to the mandis, or the, to the industries. Even that was one of the challenge. So we need to emphasize on the supply chain system. So that is something, common learning that I would like to draw from the pandemic. But the new trend that I found during this pandemic, that the immunity boosting food has increased. Well, the immunity boosting trend country-wise it is differing, because for example, in India you'll find people are using more and more turmeric. We have been using a lot of like black pepper, or cardamom, or the people are going more on milk consumption. So, like what you call, even we have separate ministry, Ayush ministry, like kadas and all. This kind of things have been increasing. Interesting. This is one of the interesting trend that grew up in pandemic. And not only this, in the ancient time as well, we have seen this particular trend. Even, like I was a few days back, I was reading one book, and I found that, we have seen one of the biggest war, I mean, bloody war in India. That was during Ashokan time, a
Hmm.
war of Kalinga. And that time, like the consumption of wheat and honey was more. And again, like if you think about the same thing now, the trend is same. Now the consumption is honey is increasing. It's gradually increasing. It's in a developing stage. So even honey is considered as one of the immunity boosting food. So whenever there is difficult situation, whenever there is pandemic, or there have been many other pandemics as well, we have seen. So whenever there was a kind of difficult situation, uh, mankind has seen different kind of immunity boosting trend, and that we have been observing every now and then.
So I think you have just thrown a hint for these new entrepreneurs to, grab that opportunity in a way to,
Indeed.
work in these kind of areas. All right, Bhushan, you've also been constantly going to the major food expos, right? And the Gulf Expo would be one of them that you are constantly visiting. Would you like to share your experience about it, and that you're going there now?
Yes, I have been visiting and addressing Gulf Food Expo as well. It's in Dubai, and it's one of the annual largest food and beverage industry expo in the month of February. And of course, I'll be addressing that Gulf Food this year as well. I'll be particularly addressing Gulf Food Innovation Summit. So here I'll be addressing on the market research that Binder Technology has been doing, and even I'll be addressing on the food safety training that we have been doing. That's how I'll be like addressing at the Gulf Food, and being like it is one of the largest expo in the world. So like previously we have seen the Gulf Food has seen the visitors from 120 countries. So perhaps now if I could see their website, I could observe the visitors would be from around 85 countries or so. So like you get different people under one roof. I mean, different food industry scientists or traders or professionals. And yes, it is good for me that I'm addressing Gulf food this year as well, like previous years that I have addressed. And yes,
So
it's a
what
good
are
opportunity for Binder Technology Consultancy to showcase their studies and to make
Mhm.
understand and to make aware people what is happening in the world.
Yeah, so what have you come across talking to them? What are the kind of new innovations that people are working on now?
Well, every year, like there have been many different trends in the world. Perhaps this year I would see different immunity boosting trend that I'm expecting that I would see this year. Uh,
Hmm.
Different agricultural innovations that we have been seeing there. Different food varieties we have been like I have been observing there. More than that, the Innovation Summit, the Gulf Food Innovation Summit is one of the brightest summit. There, people, renowned people across globe, few ministers, or the food industry professionals, or the food technologists like me. They all have, we all have been, showcasing our studies. We have been discussing in different panel discussions, and this particular, Gulf food has been very important from Indian point of view as well, because India has been one of the big supplier to the UAE as well. So
Hmm.
you'll find a lot of Indian food industry traders visiting that particular trade show as well.
So, Bhushan, I think we are coming to almost the close of this session. But what would be your closing remarks?
Well, it's very important to consume food. I mean, food is a very important thing to uh, consume. It's not only, I mean, of course, it's one of the traded commodity, but more than that, uh, how we should supply that food to people is very important. And the role of food industry, or the role of food technology comes. And Binder Technology Consultancy have been consistently working very hard to improve the global supply chain, or the food supply chain, and to consult people how that food should reach from point A to point B safely nutritional with nutritional value, and more than that, how to supply that food with low cost is a very good thing that we have been doing. And of course, we have been binding entire world together with our services in food processing industry.
So, thank you, Bhushan. It was very interesting and nice talking to you. And I believe people would have benefited understanding some of these challenges and the areas of opportunities coming in the sector going ahead. So, thank you and have a good night.
Thank you so much. Thank you.